Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Edale Lane's Sapphic Storytime, where we hear about histories, mysteries, new releases, and what Edale Lane is up to next. I hope to branch out and invite some guests to be on the show, and I already have a very special one lined up for when we get to Queen of Murder. Now, last time we looked at some Viking culture and beliefs, especially regarding women's place in their society, and I promised I'd read you a teaser passage from September 23rd's upcoming release of War and Solace, A Tale from Norgover. Stick around after the reading when I'll have some questions for you to pop your responses into the comment box. Now, today I have to read off of my screen since the paperback hasn't been printed yet. This scene is where our two main characters meet for the first time. Edale focused her attention on the shield maiden bleeding out before her. First she unfastened her belt and dropped it to the floor. Then she cut away the flimsy gray wool gambeson which had failed to protect the combatant, baring the crimson-soaked skin beneath it. She had never seen a woman with such well-defined abdominal muscles, which surely helped keep her alive. As she wiped a damp cloth round her torn flesh, the woman moaned and tried to push herself up. "Lie still," Edale ordered. She shifted her gaze to the warrior woman's face, which was twisted in pain. Sweat beaded across a forehead framed with blonde braids. When she blinked open her blue-green eyes, Edale sucked in a breath at how singularly stunning they were to behold, even in their dazed state. "Eric!" The woman spoke the name and glanced around toward the other wounded. A veil of uncertainty clouded her expression as her breathing came more rapidly. "Where's my brother?" "I don't know," Edale answered, placing a firm hand on the woman's shoulder to return her to a reclining position. "We'll find him later. Right now I must treat you or you'll die. Then you won't find him until he joins you in Valhalla." Her words seemed to comfort her patient, and she relaxed, her lids falling shut. "My daughter has gone for more alcohol, but for now I'll need you to bite on this leather strap," she said. "You've been run through with a spear." "Indeed," the woman concurred impatiently. Edale pressed the folded cloth over the anterior end of the chasm in her side. "Hold this as firmly as you can." The shield maiden's hands clamped over hers with more strength than Edale had expected, and she wiggled hers free. She nudged through a barrel of collected dowels, rods, and metal bars until she found a thick iron blank and thrust it into the fire. When she returned to her patient, she found her with the bloody cloth still tight to her side. "I must cauterize your wound to stop the bleeding," she explained, "and not on the surface alone. My inspection concludes no major organs were pierced, and your muscles have held their shape quite well. But the internal vessels must also be cut off, or you will continue to bleed on the inside and die anyway. I'll be thrusting the hot iron through the channel dug by the spear, and it will be extremely painful." The woman raised her lids and caught her in an unyielding gaze. Through gritted teeth she declared, "Pain is irrelevant." The statement threw Edale off guard. "Pain is very relevant," she corrected. "It is an important indicator to tell us something is wrong with our bodies, and we must give it our attention. To ignore it would be detrimental to our well-being. Giving in to pain is a sign of weakness and can get one killed in combat. Do what you must, and do not be concerned with my discomfort." Edale wasn't certain whether this woman was to be admired for her courage or dismissed as having lost her sanity. With a confused shake of her head, she went to retrieve the hot iron from the fire pit. She returned, holding it with two padded mitts sewn from a dead warrior's gambeson. "My name is Edale," she said, drawing her patient's attention. "And you are?" "Tudas Vignerdottir, from Helixfjord." Edale touched Tyrtis's hands, wet with warm blood, and eased them aside, tossing the saturated rag into a bucket. "Bite on the leather strip now." Without moving her gaze, Tyrtis clamped her teeth over the strap, and Edale plunged the rod through her wound. The smell of burning flesh singed her nostrils. Tilda strained against the pain, her fists tugging on the poles of her litter. Then her body went limp as she passed out again. Edale had treated countless agonizing injuries caused by carelessness, ill fate, or the darker nature of man in her years as a healer. Few men, much less a woman, had ever displayed such stoic behavior when being inflicted with tremendous torture. Yet Edale understood a great truth long scoffed at by the menfolk. Women's bodies were designed to endure more pain and still keep going. She pulled the rod out and retrieved a second iron from the fire, this one with a flat square end. Edale used it to burn the top entrance of the wound. She carefully rolled Tyrtis on her side and branded the back of the hole, sealing it from further bleeding. If fate was kind, the warrior would be left with a horrendous scar and tale of valor to go with it. If not, Tyrtis had already lost too much blood, and she had little time left for this world. Edale applied a healing balm to both sides of the trauma, and then wrapped a bandage around Tyrtis's abdomen. She would have to wake her soon to ensure she received as many liquids as possible to aid her body in producing more blood. Her patient would be weak for a long time, but preventing infection was her acute concern. Many an injured person seemed to be improving, only to succumb to raging fever days or weeks later. Called to medicine from a deep-set desire to heal and provide solace to the afflicted, Edale always prayed to air for those under her care to live. She understood the gift of healing came from the gods, but sometimes a person was fated to die, and no amount of expertise on her part could save them. Something about Tyrtis felt different. She represented everything Edale opposed, yet there was something extraordinary in the perfection of her physical form, her defiant attitude, and her exceptional eyes. Air, healer to the gods, hear my prayer. Send your restorative energy to our realm. Touch Tyrtis with your satyr. Please let her live. And that was our teaser portion. So you get the idea, Tyrtis will live. But there's a lot left to happen. So you'll want to hit the link in the description of this video and pre-order a copy now. While you're at it, why not hit the thumbs up and the subscribe button too? So, for this channel to grow and be successful, I need your input. Go to the chat box to answer my questions and ask some of your own. I'd like to do a whole show just answering your questions you pose, kind of a Ask Me Anything night, about my books, about writing, about life, pets, kids, cooking, gardening, whatever interests you. Now, here are my questions for you to answer. What kind of content interests you most? Historical background, how I construct a mystery story, listening to live readings, having a conversation on a relative topic, having guest authors to talk about their books, or something else. Number 2. What about attending a live event? How do you feel about live events? I was thinking about doing a release party for War and Solace, and I've had live events in the past. Some people really like them. They seem to be a big thing happening, but the ones I've attempted have only had marginal success. And I think part of that is because y'all are spread out all over the world, and there's no good time for everyone to get together. So pop in your opinions about a Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or a combo of all of the above live video versus just having recorded ones. Number 3, most important question of all, cats or dogs? Now that I've had both, and I love both, I only have dogs at the moment, and you heard their pitter-pat of their little feet going by. But tell me about you. What is your favorite fur baby? Be sure to leave your comments to help me mold my next episode on here. And also, please choose a book or series of mine that you'd like to see featured next. So this is Edale Lane, wishing all of you the best and leaving you with one last teaser to think about, which I will explain my statement next time. But to whet your curiosity, here is a fact. There's no such thing as dark.